Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have a special video talking about my April TBR. If you have been following my channel, you might be a little bit confused because I did a January TBR and a February TBR, but did not do a March TBR. And that is because of this reason. I had some changes happen at my work, and also some events happen at work, which caused the changes at work caused a lot of undue stress, and the events at work caused me to have a lot more work to do. I had longer days. They were more time consuming and exhausting and things like that. So because of that, I did not read in February and March what I fully intended to read. What I ended up doing, I added a few books that weren't intended on there, about 2 or 3 books like that. And then I also read a lot, not as much. So really, I stretched my February reading all the way into March. And so I'm recording this at the end of March, and I'm almost done with my February TBR. I have 1 book or 2 books left. I'm almost there. So once I finish those, I'll be able to do a new TBR. So that's why I didn't do a March one. So I apologize for that. And so for my March, for April, the new month that's coming up, for one, the one event that I was doing is done at the end of March, so I have more time. The stress is pretty much lessened significantly. And also, I have an entire week off because it's spring break where I teach, so I'll have time to just sit and read a lot each day. So I'm hoping to knock out a lot of books when that happens. So I have 3 books here, which are new release books that I'll read as they release in this month. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 books that are, physical books that I have. And the physical books and the new releases, none of them are tomes. So these are 11 shorter novels. So I do believe I can hit it, unless something wacky through life comes in like they did in February and March. I don't think that it should be a problem getting through all these books. So I'm very excited because I have a plethora of genres. I'm covering a lot of ground this month with all these books. So why don't we begin with the books on the TBR that are new releases. So the first one is called Quest for Planet X. It's by Tessa Gratton. This is a middle grade book in the High Republic series for Star Wars. I'm excited because I really enjoy the High Republic series, and to my surprise, I really enjoy the middle grade books that have come out. They're not amazing, they're not as good as the adult novels, but they're really entertaining. And I thought that Tessa Gratton actually did a surprisingly good job on the novel that she did with Justina Ireland, which was a young adult novel, and so Path of Deceit. And so I'm excited to see if she can continue to do well with her new novel, Quest for the Planet X. It looks, from the cover and from the synopsis that I read, it looks like a super sweet little short fun read, but I'm excited to go through it. The second book that I have is another High Republic novel, this one an adult novel called Cataclysm, and this one is written by Lydia Kang. And I'm really excited for this one because it's an adult novel, and I really enjoy the adult novels for the High Republic. The last one left on a fantastic cliffhanger. I think that was Convergence. And also, I think that, just anytime a new adult novel from what was Del Rey and is now Random House Worlds, I just love the discourse that happens around those books. So that's my second book on my TBR. The third and final new release novel is kind of a new release novel, but not exactly, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. It's a fantasy novel. Brandon, of course, most famous for his Cosmere, Finishing Wheel of Time, that sort of thing, and he's known most recently for the Secret Projects, and this is the first of the Secret Projects, and it released 2 backers back in January, and then they started releasing the ebook and the audiobook online and stuff, but finally the physical paper copy that's hardcover in traditional design is coming out. I don't buy the exclusive stuff because it's too expensive, and I don't buy ebooks or audiobooks because that's just not how I read. So I had to wait until the publisher designed the typical thing. If Brandon had done the typical printing through his Kickstarter, and it had been like the typical $30, I would have backed it. But because he was doing the premium kind that was like $100 per hardcover, I couldn't get into it. So I now get to read it, and every person that I know who's read it has really enjoyed it, and it had just terrific discourse among the fandom. My two favorite Cosmere novels are the two standalone books, Elantris and Warbreaker. So that gives me a lot of hope that I'll enjoy Tress of the Emerald Sea. So those are the three new releases on my TBR. Let's talk about my current, like, old books that I'll read. Sticking with the genre of fantasy, we have The Defenders of Shannara, the third book, The Sorcerer's Daughter. I am, at this moment, as I'm recording this, almost done with the second book in the trilogy, and it's fine. There's some great things, some not great things. This is not Terry Brooks' best trilogy, but he has elements in here that I find amazing and sequences that are amazing, but as a whole, the novels are fine. So I'll finish up this book. Then I have a Young Jedi Knights book, The Emperor's... No, Jedi Bounty. Oh, I don't know where I put that. I have Jedi Bounty somewhere. So that'll be the one, because that's the next one I need to read. Why didn't I grab that one? I don't know why. I'm not reading Emperor's Plague. It'll be Jedi Bounty. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Then I have the middle grade novel Camp Scare by Delilah Dawson. Delilah Dawson, one of my favorite new authors. Love going through these books. I was actually at one of the release events for this book. I want to say it was the first event, the first public event Delilah Dawson did, but I'm not sure. But I was at the release party for this last year, and only 2 people showed up, myself and one other guy. And it was really sad. It was really sad that only 2 of us showed up. But it was a lot of fun because I got to ask a lot of questions of Delilah, got to know her, speak with her, take pictures, all that fun stuff. And I bought Camp Scare. I read the book that she published as a middle grade from this publisher called Mine, which I really enjoyed and I left a review of. So I'm interested to see if this one lives up. And I think this was a Bram Stoker Award nominee. The jury's still out on if it'll win. Next, I have the book Honor Arrington, Field of Dishonor. Reading through the Honor Arrington series very slowly, interested in continuing on with it. I think that Honor Arrington's a fantastic character, and I've heard that this is when the book series starts to get pretty good. So I'm excited to read this one. Next, I have an Agatha Christie murder mystery. It's been too long. I was going to do one of these in March, but I didn't have the time, so now I'm doing it in April. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, one of her more famous and better-selling ones, one of the famous Hercule Poirot books. Very excited to get through this one. I have a friend, my old roommate, actually, you know him because he did Unprofessional. He did the video on the channel with me a while ago. He's great. And he and I read through a lot of the Agatha Christie novels, and I believe he read this one, so I'm excited to talk to him about that. Next, I have another John Grisham book. It's been too long since I read John Grisham, and I have The Pelican Brief. I believe this was one of his earliest books that was also turned into a movie, and John Grisham has written banger after banger for me. Love his stuff. He's a fantastic author. Fantastic. Next, I have 2 Star Trek books. I have a novelization and an original novel. The novelization is Star Trek The Final Frontier. The novelization is by J.M. Dillard. It's based off the screenplay by David Lowery and story by William Shatner, Harv Bennett, and David Lowery. And, of course, I do not like the movie. It's actually quite watchable. But I do not like the movie for this. But sometimes the books make you appreciate the movie more. So I'm excited to get into this. This is for a Star Trek novelization, it's actually pretty long. It's about 300 pages. Some of them are only like 200 something. So I'm excited to see how much this adds. I've heard good things about it. And J.M. Dillard, she did 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She did a bunch of them. You had Gene Roddenberry did the first, and then they had 3 by Vonda McIntyre, and then you had like 6 all by J.M. Dillard. So I've read one J.M. Dillard one, Undiscovered Country, which I loved. Amazing novelization. Next, my final book is Precipice by David Mack. David Mack, great Star Trek writer. The Vanguard series, I have very mixed feelings about. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's frustrating and boring, but I'm interested to see if he cranks it up a lot in this book because I want to get through these books because I've had them for forever. So that is my April TBR. As you can see, I'm covering a lot of genres. Media tie-in fiction with Star Trek and Star Wars, science fiction with Honor Arrington, murder mystery. I'm doing like a legal thriller. I'm doing a middle grade horror novel, and some middle grade Star Wars. I'm hitting and some new releases, fantasy. I'm hitting all the genres. So if you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And which one are you most forward to seeing me review? Let me know all those in the comment section. Until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.